Hello, my name is Monica.
And my name is Owen.
And we are lecturers at the Montfort University, Kazakhstan, and we are teaching on the course International Year Zero Art and Design. So today we would like to talk about the portfolio and what do you need to submit to successfully be accepted on the course. So we prepared a small presentation, so we'll be talking over it and showing you some examples of what kind of work students have already submitted, and well, they are already studying, so they are accepted. So basically, let's talk about basic criteria of the portfolio. First of all, the format is always PDF, so you combine all of your works in one PDF presentation and then you send it to the admissions officer. Then the orientation should be horizontal. Please send us only horizontal layout, so it would be more comfortable to look over it. The background should be neutral, preferably white, maybe some light gray or maybe black even, but no funky colors, and try to keep it as professional and clean as possible. For the cover page and content, include your works with small descriptions of why did you produce this specific piece of work, maybe how, for what reason have you created it, and have a title page when you're going to be writing your name, and maybe like a small description of who you are, what is your motivation, etc. Regarding quantity, include the minimum of 10 different works, and the works should be in different techniques. We're going to explain about it a bit more. Show us your process. If you have any work in progress photos, or maybe you have some sketches, or if you have something like your sketchbooks, which is the next thing, please bring it as well. Maybe take some photos if you are submitting your portfolio online, and we can look over them during our interview. Please pay attention to the quality, so that all the images should be high quality, should be visible, and please don't include many distracting elements like, I don't know, different stars and graphics. If you are unsure whether you need to or should include the work or not, please always include it and we can talk about it over the interview. And now let's look over some of the examples that we selected for the video. First of all, the first thing is publishing comics and book covers. So one of the examples is here. Owen, can you talk about it?
Yeah, this is an example of a cover design for a book, and it goes through the processes, the variations that this student was exploring when coming up with this design. And this is a really great thing for us to be able to see, because it shows not just that they're working with things like book design and thinking about where their artwork can actually go, what it is for, but also thinking about the various poses, techniques that go into realizing the final work. It's not just the first thing they drew, they went through a process of refinement.
Yeah. The same, this is submitted from the same student, so basically we still see some process, maybe some iterations of how the design and idea was developed. This is the final from the previous slides that we just saw. Here is another example with a small description of what the book is. The book cover is also put into the mock-up, which is a nice thing for your presentation, for your portfolio. As well as here we can see some processes, for example, like the initial sketch, and then how it turned out to be from the back, from the side, and from the top of the book. Also some nice examples, but I would say that the photos could be a bit better, and maybe not in the plastic folder. Some of the examples how the book covers can be, based on which kind of illustration, a bit of work with typography, etc. Here we have something more closer to like magazines and the cover of the magazines. Once again, we're lacking a little bit more in terms of description. And here we can see a storyboard for the book. So basically for the insides of the book, not the book cover. We see the storyboard, we see some of the examples of the illustrations that student was planning to put in. And yeah. Now let's talk about drawing, both digital and traditional, depending on which media do you like more, or you can include both if you're drawing both on traditional media and with digital media. So here's examples of some sketches of various poses. So literally student was just trying some new poses, maybe trying to figure out how are they drawn.
Yeah, these are very kind of traditional in the sense of drawing like comic book figures or anime figures, yep. Which is nice to see, but like it's not we don't just need to see anime, we want to see kind of a variety of things that you're exploring.
So when we are looking into different works, what is interesting to see is, for example, you are trying to work out the composition, maybe it's some kind of abstract form, maybe you're trying different materials, like here we have a combination of pencil, sketch underneath and a bit of liner work on the top. You can see how the student was trying different techniques, pointillism,
yeah.
right? Yeah, pointillism, and just a different medium that you can draw with, although it is the same object. Here we have some just examples of illustrations that they did on paper with watercolor and gouache. And here we have a nice, let's say, variety of different stuff.
Yeah, this is kind of an ideation sketch of what they might want to make, and then the final result, which is in digital, made in Procreate. And I think it's really nice to see this because we can see the initial idea and then how it's changed once it's translated over to the digital space. Yeah.
Yeah. Here we see some examples of digital works, something that is already ready-made, kinda, also in anime style or manga style. And on the right, it's very nice to see some close-ups, maybe with some details that you would like to show in your work, and just, yeah.
Yeah, I think with this, we got this nice big image here, which looks really great. But then with the process, we have it as like a screenshot in Procreate. Maybe try not to just screenshot stuff, try and think about what's the best way to show it.
Yeah, that's a good thing to say. Yeah, pay a bit more attention about the quality, and yeah. Then we have some ready works. Once again, we're lacking a bigger description for them maybe, but overall a nice selection. We have something that is a bit like more in a sketchy kind of style, and we have something that is done in color with different kind of filters on top of that. Once again, a nice variety to show that you can work differently. Then we almost always receive some of the works from the art schools and from the local art schools, and maybe some kind of classes or courses that you took for academic drawing. If you have those, put them in your portfolio. They are not the main thing that we would like to see, but it's good to see if you went through any kind of like...
Yeah, it's great to see technical skill, but we also want to see that you're curious about other forms of creating.
Yeah. Another example from for a think like some kind of a study of a still life. Once again, if you have them, include them. If you don't, no worries. Now, let's talk about posters and maybe some digital works afterwards. So, for the posters, we have a couple of examples here.
Yeah, I think this is a really great example of kind of what we'd expect from a student to be able to produce at this stage. So, in terms of the poster, it uses type in a very clever way, and it's also understanding the language of graphic design. This is a film about graphic design, so it allows us to know that this student isn't just curious about poster making, they're actually curious about the practice of what we do as designers, which is nice to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have kind of 3 different compositions here, all by the same student, I think. And you know, it's really great to see that we can now clearly see that this student is like digitally capable of creating typographic work and able to show that work in like various environments, and is being quite experimental with the type of work we're making, which is really nice.
Yeah. Here we have some more illustrative posters, basically, also made by students. We can see the initial kind of illustration and how it is applied to the whole poster thingy. Then, about photography and videography, we are very curious to see more photography and videography works from you. Please pay attention that we are not asking for your like Instagram kind of photos that are just basic with like a nice view of something. No, we want something a bit more experimental. Maybe if you try to experiment with camera, maybe film camera or something else. If you're shooting any kind of videos, first of all, please describe them. Tell us what exactly were you shooting, and if possible, either attach your videos or animations to your portfolio, or give us something like a QR code maybe that we can check the actual video of.
Yeah, with video work, it's fine to have it hosted on YouTube or Vimeo. It can be a private link, so it's not public, and it's fine to just link us to that. It doesn't have to be embedded in the PDF.
Yeah. For the photos, as we said before, we are interested to see some of your experimentation with photography, maybe something like a color correction if you tried it before. If you worked in any specific type of software, like Lightroom, for example, include that as well. Give us a small description about what exactly were you experimenting with. Maybe it's about exposure, maybe your ISO or something else. It's always nice to see that you already had a little bit of experience of photography and videography before joining our courses.
Yeah, I think with photography and videography, we, as Monica said, we don't want to see your Instagram photos because we're all able to take photographs now. So we really want to see that you're understanding why we take photos in this. And these are two great examples that do this.
Yeah. So now if we're going to take a look at 3D works, including sculpture, fashion works, maybe some abstract 3D works as well. We can see some of the sculptures here. As you already might have guessed, we're lacking a little bit of a description of what this sculpture was made for, maybe some process photos of how it was created or how it was ideated and stuff like that. For fashion works, I would say this is a nice example to show us what have you started with, maybe some fashion sketches that are kind of moving on into the final result. Once again, the quality can be a bit better, just the quality of the picture, I would say, but yeah.
Yeah, I think this is a really great thing to be able to see from a fashion standpoint because it shows an interest in the concepts around fashion and then how the research and ideation has resulted in a final piece.
Then we have some sketches plus the final outcome. Once again, here we do understand that this is a sculpture project, but we're lacking a little bit of description to understand what is the sculpture was made for. Maybe it was a piece of merch for something. Maybe it was just a study of how to work with, I assume, clay. But once again, regarding the process, always show us as many process photos as possible.
Yeah, I think also with this, we can see kind of two photos of the sculpture from the same angle almost.
Yeah.
Really think about showing us the entire object.
Yeah. Maybe some close-ups or something from the top.
Yeah.
Yep, we also have a bit more of like abstract works, if I can call this way. A student was working with the concept of clouds, and basically she had an explanation on a separate page that didn't include, but overall we can see some experimental work, sewing different types of plastic, adding some 3D elements on top of that, trying to create this kind of like a funky, weird looking bag. But once again, the more experiments you do, the more curious you are into trying just different things, the better it is for us. The pictures could be taken a bit better, though.
Yeah, like the fact that it's cut off at the bottom on the other one, and also these are kind of just like put it there, take a photo, and then put it in the thing. Think about how you photograph your work. You want your work to look good, and things rarely look good if you just shoot them like that.
Yeah. Then regarding collages, this is one of the very popular types of techniques that students are using to apply. Those are two separate collages. One is more about like Formula 1/Red Bull kind of aesthetic, and the second one is more
you don't know what that's about, do you?
Yeah, it's just a bit more just about aesthetics, I guess, and something
it's
like
about a video game.
It is?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
It's a video game.
And that's why you need to put the descriptions in, because otherwise some teachers will understand what it is about and some people will absolutely not, like me. So, for example, just for us to see how are you working with the composition, how are you working with different materials, maybe you done any kind of traditionally made collages, or maybe you've worked with a specific concept or trying to incorporate a specific type of style of an artist. Or maybe you've tried to work with the digital collaging, which is something like a mood board or something like just a digital collage. You can try to experiment with different filters that you put on top of that, or with the kind of color palette or something like that.
Yeah.
But overall, nice to see that you are planning and trying different compositions, and yeah. Then regarding printing, we are usually not receiving many different printing works, but I would like to show you a couple. So first of all, printing on textiles and overall anything regarding silk print, if you've tried it before, or silk screen. Or maybe if you've tried any of the like manual printing techniques, for example, liner print, aquatint, dry needle, stuff like that. Basically all of those techniques, especially if you try them at home, and this is not very, how to say, hard to try them at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would really diverse your portfolio.
Yeah, and it's okay to make stuff for the portfolio. Like maybe if you haven't got some of these techniques, try and turn your work into these techniques, because yeah, we really want to see that you're curious about ways of making.
Yeah. So.
No.
Now regarding digital works, we already shown you a couple of examples of digital illustrations. Now we would like to show you just digital work done for different reasons. So for example, here the student was practicing and trying creating logos. This one specifically is showing us different variations of a logo, maybe how the grid was structured. The grid is very chaotic, but yeah. I guess they were trying to experiment with it, and a couple of mock-ups of how the logo can be used in the future. Of course, it's all work in progress. We're not expecting you to be already like a full-blown professionals, but at the same time, it's nice to see that you are interested in different kind of stuff. You're practicing, you're trying something at home. The same goes for this work.
Yeah, this is really great to see that students are using digital formats, thinking about how it can relate to a kind of real-life brief. This is for a bakery, but yeah, it'd be nice to see a bit more writing perhaps about this, and about all the reasons that they thought this would be good for a bakery. You know, maybe this bakery specializes in doing icing for video games or something like that, yeah. Which would be a nice way to bring in the pixels. But yeah, tell us a bit about the work.
Yeah. Same goes here. This is, I would say, each of the photos can be a separate page, but still a nice combination of different works that students have tried to do, I assume, for school, and maybe for just some concept of different brands. Once again, we would like just to see what you've tried already, and maybe what you are curious about, what you're interested in, etc. And the last part of the video is about the study and process, how to show your studies, how to show your processes of different things. Apart from just bringing your sketchbook physically to us for the interview, you can also, and we would advise you, to put some process into your portfolio. For example, if you've tried any kind of specific software, we can see some process, we can see some ideation stages, maybe how you were like fixing some of the mistakes or how you were playing with it a little bit. We can see how you developed the concept and basically what the concept is about. Unfortunately, we don't have the final kind of design. I assume it was supposed to be digital, but once again, it would be nice to see a bit more and the final picture.
So yeah, it's really interesting to see this. The student has clearly got an interest taken from their time spent in Hong Kong, looking at the facades of buildings, and has, you know, really studied that and figured out how to create a final piece which is representative of that. And yeah, it's a really great little piece of sketchbook work to see. Yeah.
The same goes here. We can see the exploration of flowers and the textures, some line work, trying to understand how exactly petals are working inside of the flower, and just overall a nice study of what exactly are you thinking about while you are drawing, what exactly are you studying. You're looking at different flowers, or maybe the same flower but in different stages, etc., etc. Whenever you're showing us the process of your any kind of work, to be honest, it's always nice to try to put it in some kind of like a compilation like that, so we would understand what are you thinking about. If you've done it before in your sketchbook, that's great. If you haven't, we're going to be doing it during the first semester of the IOS course anyway, so yeah. And the last piece of work.
Yeah, this is like a series of studies on natural forms, and it's a really great example to see them iterate through different mediums. I think we've got kind of pastels and pen and charcoals, and it's good for us to see this sort of thing because once you're on the course, there's a lot of demand for sketchbook work and experimentation and really pushing your designs forward. And this allows us to see that you're capable of starting to do that yourself.
Yep. And that was the last part of the presentation would like to show you, and hopefully it's a bit more understandable now how your portfolio should be structured, what should be in there. If you have any questions, you can always ask our admissions officer and they will help you out with any questions that you have. So yeah, good luck, see you soon.
Thank you.